Hey, it's Pavi, and welcome back, and I'm here to give you a rundown about what happened during the month of November. Now, it was a crazy month with so much that happened. I got to speak at WebSummit, which is the world's largest tech conference, and I mentioned that in my last newsletter, but I'm going to talk about all of the experiences I had, and I also created an article that you can check out in the description, and it's a super in-depth review about my experience and what I learned. Aside from that, I also finished a clustering project for machine learning in COVID-19 for contact tracing. I released 3 podcast episodes for the Remind podcast and even did a build in public challenge for Twitter, and currently still doing that. And lastly, I'm going to be working on building up a transformer and then some updates on my voice-based biomarkers project. So lots to get through. Let's get into it. Alright, so first off, we got WebSummit. So for those of you who don't know, WebSummit is the world's largest tech conference based in Lisbon, Portugal in the beginning of November every single year. So in Portugal, we got to speak at the conference. I was with 6 other TKS students, and we all got to give a few talks, but really talks were only like 30 minutes of our entire experience, whereas the majority and bulk of the experience was speaking and meeting people in forum and building connections with the rest of the TKS crew, and of course, traveling Lisbon. So the conference was roughly 3 days, and I had both of my talks on the first day, which was a panel about Gen Z and the future of investing, and also a talk on the Corporate Innovation Summit stage in front of C-suite execs, all about how companies can successfully incorporate Gen Z into their business. So I learned a lot from the conference, but I'm going to sum it up right now, but the bulk of my experiences are going to be linked in an article that I wrote a few weeks back about the people that I met and everything that I learned. So here's probably my top 4 takeaways from what I learned. Now, first, it's a very iterative process. So when you start the first day, you're not going to really be the best at introducing yourself because maybe you've had experience. I had in-person experience with going to Collision and Elevate, which are 2 other tech conferences in the past few months. But speaking in forum, where is basically the space that all speakers stay for the majority of the conference, you're with people that you know are doing really interesting things. But being able to actually have interesting conversations is a skill. And it's an iterative process. You learn how to ask better questions, and I realized the training and the process and mindset it requires to actually ask better questions and also introduce myself in a better way. So I ended up, over the course of the conference, creating a better way to explain the projects I've built without dumping all the knowledge that I have or all the experiences I've had on somebody that I met, like 5 minutes ago. So that was definitely one of them. But the second one was keeping momentum. So you get very tired. When you have 14 to 16-hour days in a conference, it gets very exhausting talking to people all day about work or the city or anything and everything because it's guaranteed that you have that conversation maybe twice already. So to really keep the momentum going, Naveed Nathu, who's the co-founder of TKS, he actually told us something pretty important that really stuck with me, which was, think about this. In the next 2 to 3 days, you're going to be back in Toronto living your basic normal life. But right now, you're here with the world's leading co-founders, startups, companies, CEOs, and you get the chance to meet with them and speak with them, so take the opportunity. So anytime I got tired, I tell myself that, and then I would just keep going. I think that's another thing, that you do get tired, but you need to figure out how to have those breaks, when to have them, and the mindset shift you have to have during these conferences. Also, make things very fun. The entirety of you being at the conference doesn't have to be boring, and it's not boring. But if you ever find yourself, getting tired, then you gotta figure out how to make things fun. So during lunch, if we were tired, we would try to find each other and just talk and have fun and catch up. Or we would literally be sleeping at 12 or 1 a.m. every single day and then wake up at 6 a.m. the next day. So it was like 5 hours of sleep for a 14 to 16-hour day. And although it was intense, it was so much fun. And that really builds the experience that we want to build. And lastly, after the conference, it's really important to continue and follow up. So I actually just had a call with a researcher I met in AI and voice health at WebSummit, and it was a great call, lots of help, and these people are very valuable connections. So ensuring that you actually speak with them and talk to them and learn more about their story and what they're working on, and not it just being a transactional relationship, is so crucial, and I've gotten a lot better at that. So those are 4 major takeaways, but there's so many more that I had, so check out the article I linked in the description to check out everything and anything that I learned and all the people that I talked to. Alright, so I've also been making a dent in my AI journey and process, and one of the projects that I recently released, I had a video and article, which I'll again link in the description, was about COVID-19 contact tracing. So contact tracing is identifying someone that could have had COVID, and then all the possible people they could have infected, and then notifying those people. So this one helps help prevent the spread of the disease even further, and 2, helps you allocate treatment better to those who actually need it and who don't have a false positive. So I built that through the dbScan clustering model, and it was a very basic machine learning algorithm, but it was a great way to really start off in AI in healthcare. That being said, I am also moving on to building my second project, which is going to be an NLP transformer in clinical trial efficiency. So essentially trying to identify the people that are actually right for a specific clinical trial. And the main intention behind doing this project is to, one, understand the fundamentals of AI a lot better, and two, it's one of the use cases for voice-based biomarkers, because with voice-based biomarkers, you can identify people that could be suited for a clinical trial, and that correlates in that sense as per the application. So after I finish this transformer project, which, look out, I'll be finishing it in less than a week, and once I finish that off, I'm going to be going deeper into voice health and my voice-based biomarker project. I just had a call with a researcher who gave me lots to think about, and there's lots of different ways that you can identify diseases, and there's so many different ones that you can identify. And speech health is a very difficult thing to deal with because there's so many parameters and factors that could affect the result. And also, the use cases, there's so many, but ensuring that it actually works for what the intended process or application is super important. So that is the current update with the voice-based biomarkers project, and really just once I finish the transformer, I'll have a basic understanding, and then moving forward into actually building out the project. And there are 3 new Remind podcast episodes out, all about current events. So it's a 3-part series all about what is happening in the world right now, because so much has been happening and it's so difficult to keep up. So we talked about the FTX crypto crash, the population of the world increasing to 8 billion people, and finally, layoffs happening from tech giants like Amazon and Meta. So lots is happening in the world, and typically it's very difficult to keep up with. I mean, even reading an article that was published yesterday compared to today about a certain event, completely different. So you can check them out if you want a little bit of an update about what's been happening with some of those issues, and we will definitely be continuing it because there's lots happening in the world and people definitely need to hear what's been going up. All right, and that basically concludes everything that's been going on in November. It was a crazy month, from conferences to AI and machine learning to even filming podcasts and having super interesting conversations. And even if you'd like to keep up with my daily updates, you can check out my Twitter because I'm doing a Build in Public challenge. It's been roughly a little over a week and a half, and you can check out all the things that I've been working on every single day. So if you like this, you can keep subscribing and keeping up, and see you guys next time in December.